Hi, this is James Gordon of October Library here with a topless video. It's been quite a while since I last did one, so after getting a very nice shout out video from my friend David from England, from David's book review, who did this very nice video about my channel and letting others know about it, which really lifted my spirits, and I decided today I'm going to do a topless video just because it put me in a really good mood today. So thanks again, David, for that video. I appreciate that. So anyway, this was a topless video I've been planning to do. I just haven't got around to doing it because life just likes to throw curveballs at me. Oh my goodness, I've been trying to do so much stuff and just things getting in the way, and I have a little update on Battle Royale. I'm actually have reached the 200 page mark, and I'm going to be reading more of the book right after I'm done this video. So I'm going to be reading more of it, and I'm going to try to get a review try to get a review up by sometime early in August. I'm going to try, and then after I'm done with Battle Royale, I'll go to my next books, and I'll be just reading through those as much as I can to get back on track. As in June, I was just like doing so well with book reviews, just going through one book after the other, and then losing my internet kind of slowed me down, and a bunch of other things. I am definitely going to get back on track in August, as I really want to clear out some books so I can go through my shelves and read as many books as I can, as I got a lot I want to read. So that's what I'm going to do in August. But anyway, so for this topless video, I'm going to do the top 15 best horror covers. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I did the top 15 worst novel covers, and I'm definitely planning on doing another one, as I've been setting up some really atrocious novel covers. They're just waiting to be shown to just how bad they are. But today I'm going to do the top 15 best horror novel covers. So, as I show them, I will describe them and why I like them. And this is the one thing I really wish more publishers would do, is put more effort into their covers. Like there's some good covers here and there, but a lot of them are kind of like plain and basic. And I really wish more publishers would go back to put more effort into these covers. And these are like and when you see these covers, you can understand why when publishers put so much effort into the covers, they came out so good. So, all right, further ado, let's begin. All right. I'm going to pick random, as I got a bunch of images here. I'll start with this one I want to start with. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start. Okay, for the first one, I'm gonna go with Slugs by Sean Hudson, published by Leisure Books in 1987. In this cover here, you can see a man that's just basically is nearly dead as these slugs devour his body. You can see one sticking out of his skull as they're kind of wrapped around him, and you can see a spine with a brick wall. And you can see the agony on this man's face as he's being devoured by these slugs. This is a really cool cover, and apparently there's a film that's loosely based on this book, and they actually use this cover for the film poster. So I think that's cool. I have to check that film out, see if it's worth watching or not. But this is a really cool cover. There's a cover out there that just basically has a slug like eating a person's eye, which I don't really think is that good of a cover. But this is a lot better, and one of the rare times that the American publisher puts a really better cover than the British publisher. And this is a really good book. I definitely will be reading this. Definitely will be reading Slugs in the future. Okay, next, let's change it up. Okay, okay, I'll go with this one next. All right. Next, Crook Tree by Robert C. Wilson, published by Berkeley in 1981. Alright, in this cover you can see there's a bear behind a tree and there's blood in its mouth, and this is one thing I love with books from the 80s and 90s was the die cut covers on them. So, in the image, there's the bear, but there's blood, like what's going on? And when you open the die cut, it reveals this bear-human hybrid that's has basically killed a person and is basically eating their heart out, and it has an arm like just sticking out of their like rib cage and stuff. It's a really cool cover, and I actually, this is one of the very first horror books I got when I started book collecting at Value Village, and this was a really fun book. So this is why I love the 80s. Just the graphic, violent covers. They're so cool. All right. Okay. Next. All right. Oh, let's go with this one. All right. Next, Bloodworm by John Hacklin, published by Orbit in 1987. This is just a really cool cover. You got this giant monster worm that's just wreaking havoc in London. You can see a skull with these red beetle bugs that are in the book. And this is actually a very accurate representation of the book, which is one thing I love with covers, when they have an accurate representation of what's going on in the story. And this is accurate. This is, oh man, this cover is so cool, and I discovered there's a hardcover edition of this. I would love to get it. I have a paperback, which sadly has this plastic wrap around it that I can't take off, so I'm hoping to find one day a hardcover of this book, because this is just a gorgeous cover. You can see the terror, the destruction. Oh, it's just amazing. I really like this cover. It's one of my favorites I really like. Okay. And let's see. Alright, go this one next. Alright. Next, Sinister. Next, Sinister, edited by Martin H. Greenberg and Robert Serberg, published by Avon in 1987. So this is a collection of short stories that are about cars and death, and has a bunch of very well-known authors that have written some really good stories in it. And this cover is just amazing. You got this like 50s kind of like Cadillac. It's got an evil look on it. There's actually, if you look closely under it, there's got rockets and machine guns under the bumper, and there's a skull in the passenger seat. This is actually from the very first story in Car Sinister, so this is again an accurate representation of the story. And it's kind of like, basically, what if Knight Rider was evil, essentially. This is just, I love this cover. The colors are very beautiful. It's just so well drawn and illustrated, and it's just, oh, it's a gorgeous cover. I really like it. And you got a desert in the background with a full moon. And the title text I really like too. It's like kind of like chrome, and it's got like green and kind of like a dark orange color in it. But yeah, it's got a great title text, and it's just a gorgeous cover. I really like this one. Okay, let's see, what should I go with next? Alright, I'll go with this one. Okay. I think it's, oh, here it is. Okay. Next, Death Bell by Guy and Smith, published by Pocket Books in 1981. Again, this is one of the early horror books I read, and the very first Guy and Smith book I got. And this is just a really cool cover. You got this like kind of like devil face on this bell, and then the bottom part that makes it rain looks like a blood drop. This is a really cool cover, and if I recall, the bell doesn't in fact have like an evil face engraved on it and stuff, and in the book it just drives people drives people mad, and it causes them to do violent things. It was a very fun book, and I definitely will review that on this channel, and I just really like this cover. It's just in this cover, what I like is just, it's simple. It just has a bell with an evil face on it, and in a black background. That's perfect. That's perfect. There's nothing else added to it that would ruin it. This is just, it's simple, but it works, basically. Alright, next, Chainsaw Terror by Sean Hudson, published by Star in 1984. This is just a absolute sick cover. I really like this cover. It just makes me think of like 80s slasher films like Friday the 13th, My Bloody Valentine, Intruder, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This is this is what this cover reminds me of. It's got this it's got this terrifying muscular man holding this big chainsaw with blood on it, and it's just, and you got fog. It is just sick. This is one of my favorite covers of early 80s horror novels. This is an excellent cover and a really good representation of what Chainsaw Terror is about. Very gorgeous cover. Okay, next, Misery by Stephen King, published by Viking in 1987. Okay, in this cover you can see it is very dark, and that is basically the whole thing of Misery. It is a very dark novel, Yeah, on the cover, you can see the main character, who's an officer, who's in a wheelchair. He's in distress, and outside it's snowing. It looks peaceful, except here's this shadow outline of a person holding an axe, and that is Annie Wilkes, who is hell bent on making this officer bring back her favorite character after he killed her off in his last romance novel. Misery is a very shocking and dark novel, and this cover is a perfect representation of the themes in the book. And this, I really like this cover. It's just when when you look at this cover, you know that things are not going to go well for this main character, and he goes through hell basically. And this is an excellent cover, one of my favorites. Next, I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, published by DDay in 1954. There are many covers to I Am Legend. There's some good ones out there, and there are some bad ones, but this one I really like. In the cover, you can see Robert Neville is holding a stake, and he's basically fighting off a horde of vampires where there's fire in the background, and I like this cover. It's very dark as the novel is, and it's very bleak, which this cover captures that theme of the book. While this scene does not happen in the book, but I really enjoy this cover. It's just a really dark and shocking and very violent cover, and I really like it. It's really cool. Next, Carvings by John Snellings, published by Leisure Books in 1987. Alright, in this cover you can see a woman holding a gold and wooden treasure chest with monster mouths on it, and then there's a claw sticking out with blood dripping on the table, and she's sitting in like an old style chair with wood carvings on it, and even the title text has carvings on it. This is just a really cool cover. A really cool cover, and again, it's simple. It's not. It's simple. It doesn't go over the top. It's perfect. While this scene is not in the book, but again, it's just a really gorgeous cover on the book. That would definitely, if you saw this cover in the bookstore, you would pick it up and it's like, I want to read this. And this is a really good book, and I really like this cover. It is really cool. Next, Strainer by Ronald McCannon, published by Pocket Books in 1988. In this cover, you can see a hand sticking out of the ground during a sunset in the desert. It's got long, sharp claws. It's covered in scales. It looks evil. And in the title, it's got scales on it too. And this is a really cool cover. I really like it. Again, it's simple. It's basic, and it's really nice. It's a really nice cover, and I like the colors on it, and the green title text stands out very well on this desert background with the hand sticking out, which the villain in the book, Strainer, he does travel underground, and this is the perfect representation of the story. It's a really good cover, and behind the hand you can see the buildings, which is in fact the town Inferno, which the story takes place in, the fictional town of Inferno between Mexico and Texas. So this is a really good cover. Next, Cell by Stephen King, published by Scrober in 2007. In this cover, you can see a cell phone on the ground. Its screen's broken, and there's like blood pouring out of it. In the reflection, you can see a person standing along with a crumpled cup on the pavement, and in the reflection of the blood, you can see chaos happening. And I remember when this cover was first shown in some magazine when this came out back in came back when this first published 2006. I was really impressed by the cover. I was drawn to it. I've never seen. I wanted to read it, but I didn't get this book until later in paperback, which I really liked. The paperback cover was okay, but I really prefer this cover more. It is just way better. It's more eye-catching. It's very well illustrated, and again, it's a good representation of the story of the world going to chaos when cell phones suddenly turn people into mindless, rampaging zombies. This is a really good book, and this cover is very it's very and I really like this cover. It's sharp. And you can sense the fear from it just by looking at the reflection of the guy standing there and the fire in the background, the chaos happen. This is a really good cover. Next, Bethany Sin by Rory McCann, published by Pocket Books in 1987. In this cover, you can see a woman riding a white horse while wearing all white, and above her is a full moon with a horse's skull, and in the background there is a town between two mountains, and there's like fog covering the green grass, and you got this beautiful colors of pink and green for the author's name, and then purple and white for the title. This is a really beautiful cover. It's just got gorgeous colors. It's very well drawn, and these are the kind of covers I like seeing on books. Ones that are very well drawn, illustrated, and just well put together. And this is an excellent cover. It's very beautiful. Very beautiful cover. All right. Next, Assassin by Sean Hudson, published by W.H. Allen in 1988. So on the cover, you got a reanimated corpse holding a magnum, and he's cocking the hammer, ready to fire. And then you got the title "Assassin" in like graffitied with a spray paint can, and it's a good cover. And you got this green background, which really helps the image stand out. And this is again a very well illustrated cover, and it's simple and it works. Other editions I have seen of Assassin just don't have really good covers. To me, this is the best one out of all of them. This is just again a gorgeous cover. It's simple and it works. And how many books do you see that have reanimated corpses holding guns? This is just a really cool cover, and I really like the title text. It's really cool. Okay. Next, Night Shift by Stephen King, published by Sigmund in 1986. This is a really interesting cover. As you can see, you got a hand wrapped in gauze, and the hand has a bunch of eyes on it. This is from the very first story in Night Shift about a person who gets infected by some alien parasite, I think, or an alien host, and it begins taking over his body, and it has these eyes that start poking out of his hands. And this is a really cool cover. It's simple and it's eye catching. When if you were to see this in the bookstore racks, you'd be like, oh, I want to read this. Yeah, this is a really cool cover. And again, I like when covers have illustrated scenes from stories that happen within the book, so it's an accurate representation of the book. And again, this is a very simple and well illustrated cover. I really like it. It's really nice. Alright, and the last cover is Death Day by Sean Hudson, published by Star in 1987. Alright, in this cover you can see a tombstone with a bunch of carvings on it. You got skeletons, you got markings, you got a skeleton of a Green Reaper. There's a glowing medallion with an evil graven on it, and then you got this skeleton hand that's scratching the tombstone during like night, and this is just a really cool cover. And one of my favorite things to see on horror covers is like creepy tombstones or graveyards and stuff, especially foggy and stormy. But this cover is really cool. You got, as I said, a skeleton hand scratching a tombstone with these engravements on it with a glowing medallion. It's a really cool cover. And I did not know this was a Sean Hudson book until I looked this up, and I was surprised to find that Sean Hudson wrote this book under a different conundrum. And one favorite and tombstone covers I really like. So this is easily one of my favorite covers of a tombstone on it. Alright, that is it for the video today. Hope you enjoyed it, and those are some really cool covers that I just showed, and I definitely will be doing more of these with other books. I'm thinking doing ones with like action, science fiction, fantasy even, post-apocalyptic, and some other covers too that I can do in future topless videos. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name, a place to post and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.